Your blue bin. Think it's just another place to put your household waste? Think again. The things you put in this blue bin are actually valuable resources that are about to embark on an amazing journey we call recycling. This plastic bottle, when it falls into the bin, it's about to take a magic carpet ride to a new life. It could become another bottle or something like this fleece. This is the first stop on the journey, CSWD's Materials Recovery Facility, or MRF for short. Thanks to you, more than 80 million pounds of recyclables are processed in this building each year. They go through a wild series of spinning discs, speeding conveyor belts, whirling magnets. It's sort of like a Willy Wonka factory for recyclables. When they come out the other side, they're shipped off to market to be made into new products. Trucks come into this building. We call it the tip floor. That's because this is where trucks literally tip their recyclables out onto the floor. It can look like quite a mess, but that's only because the MRF hasn't worked its magic yet. Another machine, a skid steer or a loader, pushes it all onto the first conveyor belt, where it heads up the hill and into the pre-sort room. The pre-sort room is where the first line of workers take off bags of shredded paper for special handling. They also take out items that made it into your bin by mistake, like styrofoam, plastic bags, and hazardous materials. It takes concentration and quick hands, but it's important to get these contaminants out now. Contaminants lower the value of recyclables, and they can get caught into the machinery or even injure workers. Cardboard is the first material to be sorted. A screening machine with spinning discs pulls off big pieces of cardboard while everything else drops through it onto a conveyor below. After the cardboard, glass is next. Your recyclables go through something called a bottle breaker, which does exactly what it sounds like. It crushes glass into small pieces. That crushed glass falls through a screen onto its own special conveyor. The rest of your recyclables are still on the move. They're heading for 2 more sorting screens. We call paper, like newspaper and office paper, fibers. These items float on top of the screens, while containers, like plastic bottles and metal cans, bounce down the hill. The fibers head for a conveyor where workers pull out boxboard and cardboard for separate recycling, and they pull off any trash that might have sneaked by the first steps. The plastic and metal containers are headed for a special machine called a ballistic screen, whose rows of paddle arms weed out any leftover fibers and drop the containers onto their own conveyor. The workers on the next line are looking for plastic containers like jugs, tubs, and bottles. These plastics may end up as plastic or composite lumber, bottle caps, or even fleece sweaters. Each worker on this line is looking for a different type of plastic to sort, and each type of plastic needs to be kept separate. That's because every type of plastic is different. Companies that buy the kind of plastic used in water and soda bottles, for example, don't want other plastics. The color of the plastic can also make a difference. A colorless plastic milk jug is worth more because it can be made into more things than one that has been colored orange or blue. Next up, metal. Ferrous metals, or metals with iron in them, are in for a fun ride as they pass under a high-powered electromagnet, which lifts them off the conveyor and drops them down a chute into a bunker below. The last sorter on the line is looking for aluminum. Aluminum cans, aluminum pipe hands, big balls of aluminum foil, and those products will be recycled into just about any other product you can think of made of aluminum. Aluminum siding, engine parts, or another aluminum can. After all the paper, plastics, and metal are sorted out, they're each baled into giant cubes that weigh up to 1,700 pounds apiece. These bales will be loaded onto tractor-trailer trucks and sold to companies that will recycle them into new products. These bales are worth a lot of money. Some are worth $30, some are worth more than $700. Each year, the MRF sells an average of $4 million worth of recyclables. But wait, we're not done yet. Remember that bottle breaker? Well, that broken glass took an exciting trip of its own, past vacuums, fans, and magnets that picked out any paper, plastic, or metal bits that may have gotten mixed in. The glass then goes through a spinning cylinder called a trommel, and the end product is used in road building projects and in drainage projects. That's the end of this part of the amazing journey we call recycling. If you were a newspaper or a plastic bottle, your journey would have taken you only a half an hour from door to door. If you ever have a question about what you can recycle in Chittenden County, check out our A to Z list on cswd.net or give us a call at 872-8111. Thanks for joining us and your recyclables on this amazing journey. Remember, recycle right so the equipment and people at the MRF can do their job as effectively and safely as possible.
Today we're going to be talking about recycling and composting at school. Here in Seattle, recyclable materials have been banned from the garbage since 2005, and compostable materials have been banned from the garbage since 2015. So it's the law to recycle and compost. It's also better for the environment and saves us money. It takes a lot of energy and resources to get food to your plate, so it's important to eat it. It's fuel for your body and your brain. After you've eaten all you can, it's time to take a look at what needs to be disposed of. Do a quick sort of the items on your tray before you get up, so that you can be ready when you arrive at the waste station. Group all the recycling together, and all the compost together, and all of the garbage together. If you have uneaten food, you can save it for later. And you can put your reusable items right into your bag. Liquids like milk and juice will be emptied into the liquids bucket. Recyclable items like the milk and juice cartons, clean plastic juice cups, plastic bottles, cans, empty coffee cups and lids, and clean paper will go into the blue recycling container. Compostable items like food soil paper, paper boats coated with a compostable lining, and wax paper will go into the green compost container. You can even put meat, cheese, bones, and untreated wood like corn dog sticks into the compost container. Garbage like plastic wrappers, plastic juice pouches, straws, and plastic forks and spoons will go into the gray garbage container. Some things can go into multiple containers depending on how clean they are. Clean paper bags can be taken home to use again or go into the recycling container. But if they have food on them, they should go into the compost instead. Uncoated paper plates that are clean can go into the recycling container, but if you have food on them, they go into the compost. If you think it will be too confusing to have two places for these to go, then it's okay to put all of your paper bags and uncoated paper plates right into the compost. Plastic-coated paper plates can be put into the recycling if they're clean, but if they have lots of food residue on them, then they go into the garbage. They go into the garbage, not the compost, because they have a plastic coating, and plastic does not belong in the compost since it doesn't decompose. If you're having a party, use plates and forks that are compostable, or better yet, choose food that doesn't require plates and forks in the first place. Plastic food bags that are clean can be taken home and used again. If they are dirty, then they go into the garbage container. Yogurt and pudding containers, if you scrape out the rest of the food with your spoon, it's considered spoon clean and can be put into the blue recycling container. This small amount of food left in the container does contaminate the recycling a little bit, so the best thing to do is to take your napkin and wipe out your container. Then you can put your clean yogurt container into the blue recycling and your napkin into the green compost. The same is true for plastic clamshell containers. If they are clean, then they can be recycled, but if they are dirty, then they are garbage. Things like napkins, paper towels always go into the compost container. This is because they're hard to recycle into new paper products. Sometimes items accidentally get into the wrong container. If that happens, just pull it out and put it into the correct container. Don't worry too much about a little bit of contamination in your containers. Just do your best to get things into the right one. If a fork or a straw ends up in the compost or recycling by accident and you can't get it out, then it's okay to leave it there. Then, stack your trays. The paper trays will be put into the compost dumpster outside. The durable trays will go back into the kitchen to be washed and used again. There are a lot of simple things you can do to minimize the amount of waste. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and compost. For more information about what goes where, go to the Resource Conservation page on Seattle Public Schools website. Together, we can leave a greener world for our students.